Kart Wii!
Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Mario Kart Wii. If I had to describe this game in one word, it would be unbalanced, as there's quite a lot of new ideas introduced in this entry, most of which never came back in future entries. It feels like a very competitively oriented Mario Kart game when you might just want a nice casual outing. So for starters, the CPU opponents and the item distribution feel like you're playing against a heavy competitive Mario Kart scene. So you're constantly getting hit by things, which, a lot of people who do retrospectives on Mario Kart Wii have already mentioned that. But let me just reiterate, you are punished severely for getting hit by anything. You go flying if you hit a stage hazard. The blue shell sends you soaring into the air, and you lose so much progress. You can go from 1st place to 11th place really easily, and there's hardly any invincibility buffer, so you could get hit by a blue shell and then a red shell and lose a lot of progress. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about what's new, just in case you happen to be playing the games in chronological order. I doubt it, but just in case. There's 4 save files, which is nice, but since when did anyone want save files in a Mario Kart game? There's the Mario Kart channel, which is no longer usable. There's playing online, which is no longer possible through official means. We're off to a great start already, guys, dating your game. There's also quite a few new items. However, these items were so unbalanced that none of them made their way into future Mario Kart games. There's the POW block, which gradually shrinks until it causes all of the drivers except the one who summoned it to spin out. Apparently, if you use a well-timed mushroom, you can escape it, but the game doesn't tell you that, so it just ends up being a nuisance. There's the lightning cloud, which when you get it, it gives you a speed boost at first, but then it shrinks you unless if you pass it off to another player. I think the idea was, let's do a hot potato type item, but it ends up feeling like a punishment for getting an item when items should be a reward. You can see the pattern already. Then there's the Mega Mushroom, which turns your character giant and plays the iconic power-up tune from New Super Mario Bros. And lets you squish other players in the way, kind of like the old Mario Kart games when you use lightning and could drive over the drivers. Thankfully, running into people just because you're small doesn't really happen anymore. There's also the difference between karts and bikes this time around. Karts proving to be more or less just like they were in the previous Mario Kart games, while bikes take sharper turns. However, they can only charge up 1 turbo when drifting, and you can do wheelies on straightaways by shaking the Wii Remote. Overall, I found the Wii Remote gimmicks in this game to be hit or miss. Yes, you can play with the Wii Remote sideways to simulate driving a kart, and Nintendo even marketed the heck out of a Wii Wheel, which was just a piece of plastic that you could slip on the Wii Remote to get the illusion that you were driving. But I personally preferred to stick to traditional controls. You can play with the GameCube controller, unless you're like me and playing this on the Wii U. But I found the Wii Remote and Nunchuck to be a pretty good option, as I felt like I could do a lot of things that I couldn't do in Mario Kart 8, such as looking behind me without feeling like I was putting my hands in an inconvenient position, as well as doing tricks while holding a turbo, because doing tricks is now relegated to the Wii Remote. That's also Mario Kart Wii's biggest gimmick, is being able to do tricks after a jump. And I found that these tricks were pretty hit or miss. On one hand, they give you a nice speed boost and give more spectacle to the courses, but on the other hand, you lose so much momentum while you're in midair that it's almost not worth doing it, but then it feels visually unsatisfying to just lamely drop off of a ramp. It also makes the characters very noisy, and the sound mixing is already terrible in this game, so you're constantly hearing your characters and the sounds of the karts drowning out the music. The music isn't that great to begin with, so that's not really that big of a deal. But overall, I found that I really appreciated future Mario Kart games for balancing out the sound more and not making the tricks cause you to lose so much momentum, while still maintaining the visual flair while not taking too much time. Also, getting back to karts and bikes for a moment, while it is cool that you can select your own kart or bike, you're limited as to what you can choose depending on what difficulty you choose. On 50cc, you can only play with karts. On 100cc, you can only play with bikes. You have to unlock the option to play as the other vehicle. Like, why? Is it to ease players into the new mechanics slowly? If so, then that's kind of lame, because I think they should have done it the other way around, where 50cc started out with bikes so that Nintendo could say, hey, here's our big new feature. You no longer have to just drive in a cart the whole time. One thing I will praise Mario Kart Wii for is it has a really neat roster of characters, as you got characters like Funky Kong and Rosalina, who were newcomers to the series, and you can even play as a Mii eventually, although most of them are locked, so you have to figure out how to unlock them with the game not really telling you how. I also really think that the graphics, while not terrific if you compare them to Mario Kart 8, do make a lot of the retro courses look significantly better. Now, the retro courses aren't radically different. They're more or less the same as they were in their original games, just with a few additional trick ramps and the new graphics engine making them look a lot better. However, they mostly have the same music. Some of the older courses have the music a little bit touched up so that they don't sound so compressed. But apart from that, they're faithfully recreated, which I guess could be hit or miss depending on if you like when Mario Kart 8 took a bunch of the old courses and made them so different that you can hardly recognize them. I personally think this middle-of-the-road approach is pretty good, even if I prefer how Mario Kart 8 does it. So overall, I think Mario Kart Wii is still a fun game. I just don't particularly like it in light of Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8. I think that the course designs favor straightaways and tricks over having these elaborate, cool designs. And as a result, most of them are largely forgettable, although thankfully the more memorable ones like Coconut Mall are now in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's DLC to forever be immortalized while removing the Mii's, rest in peace. I find that the music is generally way too synthetic for my tastes. I find that the computer opponents are really brutal, and on 100cc and up, they are like out for your blood. You have to be driving absolutely perfectly or they are going to clobber you. The sound mixing is awful. The buffering between items really makes you feel like you're severely punished for making the slightest mistake. And the unlockable system is overall just very weird. And I get it, like it's hard to implement a challenges menu like there was in the Super Smash Bros. Games, but I definitely wish the game gave you more guidance on how to unlock the stuff, as I still haven't been able to unlock everything in this game after all these years. So it was okay returning to Mario Kart Wii after all these years, but recency bias towards the later games has definitely made this age a little bit more poorly than I think most people have intended. Granted, there's a thriving Mario Kart Wii community that seems to worship this game, but a lot of them have also made custom racetracks and characters in online mode, which is not accessible through official means. So if you take this game as it is in its current state, it might be okay if you have a Wii, but I personally think you'd be better off getting Mario Kart 7 or 8, or even Mario Kart DS, because it has its mission mode. With that, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about the video. I'd like to thank my patrons Matthew Rakowski and Sploon Ghost for supporting me financially. If you would like to join my Patreon, the links are in the description. And until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye!